All right, Coffee with Gaz here with the legend. And I say that with the utmost. I think, is there a better word, a better superlative than legend?
I don't know about that.
Scott Howell, my friend, host of the Insurance Guys podcast, agency owner, Iprotect Insurance, and financial services.
That's it.
You see, you can tell I listen to your podcast because I got that whole setup going. I appreciate you doing this. This is kind of like a road game for you.
It is. It is.
By
the way, thanks for dinner last night.
No problem.
Enjoyed it, man. We've had a great day and a half here. I love to visit agencies and learn more about what other agencies are doing and doing well and mistakes they've made in the past. So it try to help me not make those same mistakes in the future. But y'all are just so welcoming down here. This is our second visit to Jag, and you just got a great group down here. You're blessed, man. You truly are. I
appreciate that. Yeah, it's just we have such a good team, and the people around us is really what makes this place special.
Yeah, very welcoming down here. Like I always feel very welcome.
Well, you're bringing that southern hospitality, man.
That southern energy, Paula Deen and sweet tea.
I mean, I got one rule. I think my only rule is if you don't like Scott Howell, I don't like you. That's got to be. I think that everybody should kind of adopt that, right?
It's funny that you mentioned that. Somebody sent me a Facebook message last week, and he'd been traveling to a lot of insurance conferences, and he sends me this Facebook message, and he goes, I've been traveling all over the United States the past month and a half in the insurance, and I've never met anybody that doesn't like you in the insurance business. You are beloved by everybody. And I think that is just simply a function of how much I'm willing to hang it out there on the podcast,
right,
and be so vulnerable that people hear my crazy stories and things that happen to me, both in my personal life and in my business, and they can relate to that, and they're like, "God, that's me. That happened to us 3 years ago," or "I went through that," or whatever. And I think it just kind of endears me to people that they enjoy listening to all the just craziness of things that happen in my life that maybe some agents wouldn't be quite as open book about.
I look at it as the authenticity.
Yeah,
that would be the how I put you. I mean,
right.
And I think that's you say it how it is, and it's such a refreshing way in the business world. I think everyone kind of has a fight or find their footing, right, as far as what you're doing. And so many times, like this whole like fake it till you make it.
Right.
I don't know who the hell came up with that, but that was like something that everybody kind of like, I'm supposed to perceive that I'm successful. The truth is, once you get comfortable in your own skin, we all make mistakes. It's good to talk about. Like you mentioned earlier, I want to learn what you did wrong.
Exactly.
If we're going to be honest.
That was the first question I asked him yesterday, by the way.
It's true.
When we sat down, I was like, you guys have had so much success here. And you've done so well and had a lot of blessings in all of your lives. But what'd you screw up?
Yeah,
because
that's how you learn, right?
Exactly.
And the truth is, most people don't want to admit it.
Right.
Successful people, half of them got lucky.
Yeah.
Who's going to tell you that, right?
No,
I mean, who's going to tell you that?
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I think overall, the podcast has certainly been a blessing in my life and something that I never dreamed would happen. But more than anything from it, is the unintended consequence of getting a chance to build and meet people like yourself and all the people here and the guys at Jag and everywhere around the country. I mean, it's just humbling to be able to pick up the phone and call people like yourself and say, "Hey man, I'm having something here. I need some help with it."
That's what initially drew me to you when we met.
Right.
I think it's been 2-3 years ago.
Right.
And it was through this forum. But I wanted to ask you one question before I do that. I wanted kind of to throw out the fact, like, you serve as a mentor to so many people.
Yep.
Intentional, unintentional.
Right.
I
got an 8-paragraph email this morning from somebody.
Really?
Want to talk about the podcast and the problems he's having, and I let one of your people read the email, and she was pretty floored by it. She's like, "Man, that's crazy that you have these people just send you these emails that."
It's almost like there's this obviously a huge void in anybody's life. I mean, mentorship's so important in various industries, but it connected me so much to you because I remember a big driver for me, Doug, and Fernie joining together. We were in our early 20s, 25, 26, and we were all salespeople, and we didn't. There was a huge void in terms of who can I talk to? Who can I ask questions? You know, obviously there's a generational gap. I don't know if it's gotten better in the insurance industry,
right?
But there was a huge void in our lives, and we felt like instead of we couldn't find a mentor, so we decided just to do it together.
Yep.
I mean, most people don't know. We learned insurance sitting in one room, and the story is we'd all pick up the phone, take turns, and I'd tell myself, Doug, I don't think that was right.
Yeah.
You know, and then, right. Maybe he is right. I have no idea. Is that what co-insurance means? And then I hear Ferdy say it. Then I said it, and that's how we kind of learned.
Yeah.
But you know, the platform you have that you've built with honestly pure intentions, right?
Oh,
to fill that void.
As you said yesterday, I probably should be more selfish with the podcast.
I mean, I think
time and all that.
But. Time, energy. I mean, but. I never even know this. I don't know why. Why did you even start the podcast?
Exactly what you're talking about right now. I was at that time in my life, I was listening to a lot of Gary Vee.
Yep.
Was one of the people, the thought leaders, I guess, entrepreneurs I was listening to, and he was just, guys, podcasting is the future. This was like 2016, 17. And at that time, you didn't have a lot of podcasts. And when I say you didn't have a lot, you had some, like Joe Rogan was out, and people were starting to podcast. And I think timing, where I just made a decision that, you know, I want to get on this podcasting bandwagon, so to speak. And the reason I did it was exactly what you're talking about right now. No mentorship. You know, you couldn't really find anybody in the industry back then. It seemed like, I'm sure I'm painting with a big brush right now, but that, like you said, wanted to really mentor somebody. And I thought, I'm going to flip the script and I'm going to mentor other agents through the podcast. And I don't have to know everything, because obviously I say it all the time. You'll never know everything in insurance.
It's impossible.
But I can get the damn best people in certain areas of insurance on a podcast and hopefully ask great questions.
Right.
And then put that out to the world and let other insurance agents listen to, not Scott, because Scott may not know about surety bonds or whatever it may be.
Sure.
But they can listen to the guy that's the expert on that. And so it was this, like you said, void, white space, whatever you want to call it, of mentorship that kind of pushed me to go, I'm going to flip the script and start mentoring agents with no expectation of anything in return. And for 2 years, it was like being on a raft out in the middle of the ocean, because
you felt like you're talking to yourself.
Yeah, you felt like you're talking, and like people listen to podcasts all the time or start a podcast and they'll call myself or Bradley and they'll be like, I only had 200 listeners, and I'm like, think about that though. 200. If I put 200 people in a room.
Right.
It seemed like a lot of people.
Sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
But it just takes time. It's not something, I'm sure the first 5 weeks Joe Rogan podcasted probably didn't have a ton of people listening like he does now. Now he's got the whole world listening to him. So I think you hit the nail on the head as far as the onus behind the podcast was simply that I didn't feel like I had any mentorship at all. It was almost like, you know, I mean, they don't want to tell you the trade secrets or what they're doing because they're afraid you're going to go out and do better than they will.
Well, that's the other part,
right?
Realizing that too. It's and I made this mistake early on. And I consider myself pretty social, good person.
Yeah.
You know,
right?
I root for everybody. But there was early on when you get into the business, because there wasn't enough mentorship.
Right.
You almost feel everyone's against you, right? There was almost like this underlying vibe where I don't want to really be too close to Scott because I might have to take an account from him.
Correct.
You know, and then because you're so aggressive early on in your career, then you realize it's the complete opposite. There's enough business to go around for everybody.
Absolutely.
I mean, days, weeks. I mean, we couldn't fill that bucket forever. And just you never know where these relationships take you, right?
Exactly.
From collaborating on accounts.
Yep.
I mean, there's times we've met. I've met through this forum agents across the country who want to do right by their clients. We've collaborated, and then now this whole world. It's interesting how it changes. Early on, the young agents are very, I can't be friends, and then you kind of get older and you realize this is what's supposed to happen.
One of the things that I will die the most proud of in my life is feeling like I had some small part. I'm not going to say it was a big part, but a small role in changing that dynamic. And now you've got all these brain share events and hundreds of agents coming together.
That didn't exist. I mean, at least social media, I didn't know where to find it. Like who would feel comfortable enough to even do that?
I know. New insurance podcast coming out. I saw one yesterday on my Twitter feed timeline, and it kind of sounds like the Insurance Guys podcast, which is our podcast. It was some other title. But new insurance podcast coming out every week, just a wealth of information. It's now almost impossible for a young producer like some of the guys you got in here to have this excuse of, well, I don't know, I just don't have anybody to learn from or talk to. Well, that you don't do that. That can't happen. There's too many resources, too many people now, and podcasts and individuals like yourself and that you can reach out to. And I think today more than ever, agents are so willing to bend over backwards to help each other.
I think
at least a lot of them.
No, you're right. It's the overwhelming. It's flipped, and I'll give you credit. By the way, the name very creative, Insurance Guys Podcast.
They said, "What do you want to name it?" And I said, "I don't care what we name it, but it's got to be something that when an insurance agent sees the title, they know it's a podcast for them." And so it just. Two guys, Insurance Guys Podcast. It was not very creative.
I mean, it's not creative, but it's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's funny. I joke around, like, if you want to, people not in the insurance industry have zero interest in listening to insurance.
Exactly.
Like I had a joke. I think it was a tweet. I'm still working on my Twitter game, but it's like, if you ever want to be left alone at a party, wear a hat that says you're an insurance agent. You'll see everybody kind of just shift away.
That goes back to something you and I talked about yesterday that I find intriguing. I think one of the problems we have with millennials, and I know that's a term that some people is like nails on a chalkboard, but younger people, is the insurance industry is not very sexy. And when they come out of school, there's no kid in America at a college party wanting to walk around with a red Solo cup with talking to girls going, yeah, I'm going to go in insurance industry. It's so unsexy.
If there is, can you call me? I'm looking for you. You got a desk here at the office.
And I mean, like, I will talk to, like, my stepson is 20. He just turned 21 about 2 weeks ago. And I've talked to him about insurance, and I've talked to him about, the opportunity. And you can literally just watch his eyes glaze over. He's like, I don't want anything to do with that shit.
Yeah.
Like, that is. Yeah. I just think it's hard for us to make insurance sexy enough for young people to really, really want to get involved with it, even though you and I both know that there's a tremendous opportunity for them.
It's the upside so big, and the earlier you start.
Yep. We talked about that last night.
I mean, timing is timing is an issue. If anybody can figure out that how to get that 22 to 25-year-old to make it sexy, get into insurance, that's the code.
Well, the way you get them talked into it is let them fall down right out of college and skin their knees real bad and fail or have a horrible boss at whatever sexy job they thought they were going to do.
Marketing.
Yeah.
About marketing. What does that mean?
And then about, like you said,
sales.
like 26, 27 years old, after they've skinned their knees like really bad, then they're willing to do that. As you, and I've got to give you all the credit for this. Second career choice?
Yeah. I mean,
secondary career.
Insurance in general. Look at us. I mean, we have crazy stories. I do it around. That is the issue right there. Insurance is a secondary career.
It is.
I mean, and not to take away from the risk management specific industry, but those guys seem to go work for the carrier, right? They're the smart ones in insurance.
Oh yeah.
We're the sales guys.
Right.
We're the ones that figured out after bad experiences, we kind of fell into it. And it's still, people say that it's not even a secret. It's just people don't see what we see.
They don't.
But you gotta go through that first bad experience, that first job. By the way, let's go back to marketing. What does marketing mean anyway? So talk about a degree that you should give your money back. Like a marketing degree at a university, that should be called sales.
I think
find a sales job you're not happy at. That's a marketing degree.
Right. I think I heard my podcast co-host Bradley Flowers say one time, he was talking to a friend of his about somebody getting a marketing degree from some big university, and he said something to the effect of, well, a year later it's probably like worthless because it's all so fluid and it's all changing so much. And, you know, I've always wondered, like, how does a 67-year-old professor at a major university that's teaching, you know, senior level marketing,
right?
How are they able to keep their finger on the pulse of like what's happening
on TikTok with 18, 21-year-olds
and branding and the changes in like SEO, TV, you name it. It's all changing so fast that I just don't know how colleges are able to stay up to date on all of it.
Should protest. You should stop selling marketing degrees.
I agree. Yeah, I don't know. We need to work on some of our marketing and advertising. I think you guys, I've said this for a long time, I think Jag does as good a job as anybody in the insurance space. Again, not sexy, putting out great content, comical,
hey,
enthusiastic.
I mean, I think I'm funny, but what gives me confidence is the bar's so low in insurance.
Right.
I can do whatever I want.
Exactly.
If I was playing in some other space, you might see me a little more hesitant.
You have a huge advantage in something that when I was really into promoting myself on all the social media platforms, I just, I took my phone and I'd shoot a video and I'd send it out, because if I had to do all of this with the lights and the cameras and this and that, it just wouldn't get done.
Yeah.
I'd just be like, oh, this is too much. I ain't got time for this. It'd
Right.
take me 20 minutes to set all this up. So what I was doing a lot of, and what I encourage agents to do that don't have a team, which you're fortunate, blessed to have a team, is take that phone out, be authentic, be yourself, record something, doesn't matter, funny, interesting, whatever it is, promote yourself day to day. I think y'all should probably do more of that. Just, you talking to people and working and kind of that Gary V vibe thing,
Yeah.
or you just sitting in a chair like you are right now and just rapping about something, whatever it may be. I think you've got a great opportunity with that.
And it's interesting because you're quite to the point that it does take commitment and time. Like we just took a break, I just got yelled at, 20% increase from the insured.
Right.
Now I have to kind of turn the page, jump on because you're here.
Right.
I have to take advantage of this. This is a big time move for us. I'm on the map. But one advice, and you mentioned you're right, but I think the biggest advice in anything is that you got to make it, you got to commit, you got to make it expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that, like on your podcast, you do the best job, right?
Well,
about
thank you.
articulating, about branding, how to promote yourself as an insurance agent, as a producer, what makes you different. You could tell someone 10 times, 100 times every day, hey, get on video, post something.
Mm-hmm.
You are interesting, and everybody is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's interesting.
Agreed.
We just don't give ourselves enough credit.
Correct.
But the problem is,
And then the self-esteem issues that
it's
come with.
it's like you watch yourself the first time on video. You're like, you're not even listening to what's going on. You're like, damn, I look like that. I thought I had a lot of hair, by the way, until I got on camera.
I'm telling you.
But
Me
Scott,
too.
the truth is, it's like, but if I told an insurance agent, one of your podcast listeners, I said, listen, you should do this. They don't listen to me. Guess what? Give me $5,000. Let me hold it.
Mm-hmm.
You do 100 posts, I'll give it back to you.
Right.
You're going to see them commit to it.
Oh, yeah.
And that's kind of what we did here is we said, we are committed to this. We believe in it. We believe in the vertical. We believe in promoting our staff, our culture.
Mm-hmm.
And because of, guys like Johnny behind the camera and this investment, I've had to get uncomfortable. And now I get it. I think anything in life, that's a big example. It has to be expensive. It's got to be inconvenient. And you got to get uncomfortable. You check those three things, you'll be successful. And insurance for sure, and probably anything in life.
Absolutely.
But that would be my biggest, I guess, advice for producers who say they can't do it. Or I don't know, pay me. I'll hold it for you. I will give them, I promise you.
You get your 100 posts out of the way, I'll give you your money back.
I'll give you the money back.
Yeah.
I might make a little interest on it. I'll hold it for you, but it doesn't matter. I'll give it back to you.
That's a great idea. I think like you said, everybody's interesting in their own way, and some more than others, I guess, but everybody needs to be on there in some shape, form, or fashion, because what I tell agents all the time, especially younger guys that are just getting started, is you've got to become the mayor of your village. And so for 5 years, I spent time on Facebook every single day posting to become the local, the insurance guy online in my area. And
right.
to the point that people would see me and say, well, there's an insurance guy online. And I was doing a lot of funny stuff. I always say there's like 4 or 5 things that people love, but there is nothing people love more than seeing videos of kids, animals, which I have in abundance at my house, mini ponies and
You do
stuff like that. Funny things, funny skits. We used to have this thing where I would do a commercial at the front window of our office, and I'd be talking about like tornado preparedness, and I'm doing this serious like 45-minute monologue on Facebook Live, right? I do a 45-second monologue, and I'm talking about whatever this thing is. And then I had Clint dressed up in something like a costume, and he was the comedy side of it. So I would get through like a tornado preparedness. Guys, if you need to get to the lower level, center of your house, if a tornado's coming, if you have helmets at the house, put them on your kids. Could be football helmet, could be baseball helmet.
Anything.
Clint's got a baseball helmet on. And so then I wrap him in the back of the head with a baseball bat just to show, how this could protect you in a tornado. I mean,
sure.
And I mean, I had people calling me. I had a girl call me from right outside of Washington, D.C. She was in Virginia. And she was an old friend of mine, followed me on Facebook. And shout out to Jen, if you see this. And she said, those videos, you're going to be a billionaire if you keep doing the videos. Because they were so funny. Like, I think I dressed him up in a dinosaur outfit one time to do one of these videos. I can't remember why. But he got to the point where I think he was a little embarrassed because he was kind of he's the funny, the guy that I was playing off of. And so it got to where it was hard to get him to do it because I had all these ideas for these videos. Like, I have this idea right now that I've had for about 10 years that I've always wanted to turn into a professionally done commercial, like with real cameras and lights. And I get in a tornado outfit. Like I'm the tornado, 6'3", get somebody to make me a tornado costume. Have you ever seen the Jimmy Dean biscuit commercials where the sun and planets are rotating?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. You're gonna play it out. You're gonna play it out.
And I go to people's houses and I knock on their door and I act like I'm a tornado. And maybe I'm looking for my friend Hailstorm, and I'm like, why the hell isn't Hailstorm here? There's not even hail damage on the roof right now. And so then I'm calling. I'm like, have you seen my buddy? He's supposed to be here by now. And I'm on the phone and I'm like, there's no hail damage on these cars. What is going? And it's this funny spoof on.
Yep.
My wife walks in the den with a robe and a cup of coffee, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm on the couch watching my cousin, another tornado in Kansas, and I'm like, "You've got to see Jeff.
He's doing the work.
He's tearing shit up in Kansas right now. Look at this." Yeah, but do it as a professional.
Well, but I love the underlying sarcasm with humor. That's kind of like my bit too. Like I love that, and I think as far as comedy goes, like making fun of yourself is the best way to do it too.
Love it.
Like you do that, you take away the power from anybody else.
Right.
Making fun of you.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
what are they going to do?
Myself, man. I beat you to it. I beat you to the punching bag.
And the other thing about that commercial that I had in my mind, those series of commercials that I've always wanted to do, was it's just so hard to make insurance funny.
It is.
A comedy. Even the big boys like the Liberty Mutuals and State Farms. Very rarely do I look at those professionally done, spend $1 billion a year on television advertising. I very rarely look at those and find them funny, genuinely funny.
No, they're not.
A few are. The new progressive ads
the dad
everybody's trying to be like their dad.
That's brilliant.
Those are pretty good.
But again, going back to like just the bar being slow with insurance, it doesn't have to. Some of the stuff we do, we just do funny stuff. It has nothing to do with insurance.
Oh, it's
just to kind of like mix in, and we get so much engagement. I mean, going back to it,
and so y'all used to do a lot of funny stuff too, more than you do now.
Yeah,
like. Y'all had some jam up funny.
We want to roll. We got to get. You know what happens? Start selling insurance. That's what happens.
Yeah.
You start growing the business, and then you realize
you get busy.
Hold on once you get busy, and then because it takes that commitment.
You either almost have to have like one of the parties that's in it, that's doing it, coming up with like great content, almost like a script of how we're going to do this, and then get everybody together. Then y'all did a few of those. We're like,
we did it.
Doug's in it, you're in it.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna make a comeback. I'm gonna make an effort. This is the second half of the year. I'll bring back. I got a little pipeline of some jokes.
Can we talk about a couple things before we get off here? Number one, I need some advice because this is the longest my beard's ever been. Mm-hmm. Any advice on like how you shape your beard, how you manage that?
So, I mean, it got to the point.
Are you a beard oil guy when you get out of the shower? Not a beard oil guy.
I'm a beard shampoo guy, like Head and Shoulders. Just kind of do the same thing. Head and Shoulders, but I will go once a month. You know, obviously, you know, my barber's not as busy.
Correct.
So I ask him to kind of do the top, but focus on the beard a little bit, little shape. So once a month, once every 45 days, you know, I'll do that.
Right.
Just to kind of keep it, because you can go real quick from having a nice beard to looking homeless. So you got to kind of balance that out a little bit.
Understood.
And I can tell, you know, what was happening with the mask mandate. You put the mask on, take the mask off, the beard was just out of control.
Tell our audience today, because I think this is probably something everybody needs to know, your take on what a beard is on a man.
Well, it's makeup for men. It's the same exact thing.
Exactly.
I mean, you could get the beard. You're all of a sudden interesting.
Yeah.
There's I mean, you got some stories to tell. That beard,
100%.
If that beard can write a book, right? It's that.
I'll tell you an interesting tidbit. Never had a beard. Always did the 5 o'clock shadow.
Well, you were also in the military.
Military, right? And I did like having a goatee. Wore goatee for years, just a goatee.
Okay.
But clean shaven everywhere else. I grew this beard, and my wife's like, that's it. I like that. And then I had like friends of mine, like I grew up with, that I was on a trip with one day, I guess it was about a year ago. And I was like, tell an honest opinion, beard. What do you think? And they're like, I'm going to be honest with you. I think it's your best look. And I was like, that's it.
It's staying.
It's staying there. It's not going anywhere.
And then to the point too, like actually with my kids, I've had it for so long, like 6 years, I haven't shaved a beard.
Right.
My kids want me to shave. Because I have a twin brother.
Yeah.
Like, you shave your beard, you look like
exactly.
you're like Uncle Carlos.
Right.
All right. I won't shave.
So do you ever summertime, July, like you're like I can't do this anymore, it's too hot, and you shave it? Have you ever done that?
It's the look, man. It's the look. It's like the Cindy Crawford mole. Do you know how she has that mole?
Oh yeah.
I got the beard now. I can't shave it. Like on camera, people go back. At first they're gonna confuse me with my brother, but I got to keep the tradition going.
So let's talk about. I want to change my look. I want to go with more of the South Florida look. Now, there's a little problem. I'm a little husky, and I see a lot of tight jeans down here. Yeah. I see a lot of tight shirts.
Yeah.
You got to be careful with a tight shirt when you're a little husky.
Yeah, I know.
But I really would like. I don't know if I could go to the tennis shoe look yet. I'm not quite there. I still like wearing boots, but I do want to do some kind of blend of like with these. Everybody that knows you know. Basically told me where to go shop for my shirts this morning.
I saw that. Well, I'll give you a tip. So what I do is I don't spend so much money on the shirts.
Yeah.
Buy them a little bit bigger, then spend that little $10, $15 and get it tailored to you.
Gotcha.
So you kind of got that look, and that's my move as well. Go a little bigger, tailor it, you know, so less expensive shirt, spend that difference on a tailor. It'll go a lot longer.
Here's what I don't understand about South Florida and Miami. And the redneck from Alabama, Pine Ridge, Alabama, population 89 people. But we go out to dinner last night. You're wearing the classic black T-shirt, black jeans. Shoes were, I think, a little upgrade from like tennis shoes, but they were really nice.
Designer sneakers, we call them.
And that is almost like a formal look down here.
Yeah.
People go out to dinner in that look all the time, and it looks great on everybody down here. But you don't see that as much in Alabama. People dress a little differently. Men specifically, of course, women dress differently up there. Wow.
The truth is, there's only one type of weather down here. There's no season,
right?
So you're always in season. So the same look can go throughout the whole year. I mean, you got to stay in shape right here. It's not, you can't hide. There's no extra sweater hiding down here. You're exposed. So with that, the look stays the same. I would dress the same if it's November or if it's April 1st, same thing.
Temperature stays pretty constant the whole year then.
Yeah.
Has to.
Maybe if it drops under 70, you'll see everybody rush and wear that one sweater they like.
Right.
But then Miami weather, it's cold in the morning, regret in the afternoon, because then you start to walk to lunch at 12 o'clock and now you're starting to sweat. So it's managing the expectations and your wardrobe.
Well, you guys all do a fantastic job here. I mean,
you saw, took a picture. Everyone's wearing white sneakers today.
Yeah, everybody took a picture because they probably can't see this on camera, but everybody in here has on white sneakers today. So
I look at it like we're all ESPN commentators. You saw that, it's like you're moving around. They got the suits on with the white sneakers.
I think it's good that everybody down here, y'all, there's a certain standard. I think downtown, especially when you go out, it's like everybody seems to be competing a little bit.
A little bit.
The other thing that I find odd being from a town of 89 people in Alabama is when I go out on the street here, like go out in front of your office building here, you can stand there for 30 seconds and see 2 Bentleys, maybe a Lamborghini, 15 Land Rovers. I think everybody down here drives a Land Rover, seems like. But you just don't see that in Alabama. I mean, you'll see nice cars, but nothing to that magnitude where 15 cars go by, 10 of them are.
Well, the simple trade-off. You have land.
Really?
There's one out there. You have land.
Right.
We don't have land, so we get
Correct.
cars.
Right.
It's kind of thing. Like, you can walk around. I know you got plenty of acres. You can enjoy that space.
True.
For the, and here, if you're going to drive 4 miles and sit 30 minutes, it might as well be in a nice car.
Is there a lot? I get the feeling down here there's a lot of people keeping up with people. People keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah, that's an issue. That's an issue. I call it competing off the field.
Right.
That's competing business, but everything else, don't worry about it. But that's kind of the outside noise.
I don't know relative to what I would have to make down here to live a comfortable lifestyle, but I'm sure the standard of living down here or cost of living is a lot higher than Alabama.
Yeah, it's gonna be. It's gonna be tough.
And don't see a lot of like 1-bedroom trailers around here either.
But you also don't have 3 horses or 3 ponies,
correct,
and like you have in your house,
right?
So it's a trade-off.
So did you think the area we got our Airbnb at? I know it's not much.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not the best part of town. We probably should have got an Airbnb in, or.
Geographically makes sense that you're going to be visiting our office.
Right.
I wouldn't have. My first choice. Gotta be careful. I have to be careful with those
Clint
words.
and I laughed about that. I got to end this.
I did do a double take. I looked around to make sure when I was parking my car. Like, all right, let me see if anybody's following me.
Make sure it's locked. Funny story for everybody before I get off the podcast today or off the show we're doing right now. But so we've been here for 2 days, and Lou drops us off at our little house that we're staying in the bad part of town here last night. And Clint, about 15, 20 minutes later, he goes to bed. And I'm turning everything off in the house and walking towards the bathroom to take a shower. And I thought, I need to double check that door and make sure it's locked.
It was a good idea.
And I walk over to the door from the inside, and it was not locked. And I realized we had stayed in that house for 2 days and never locked the door. That door has been unlocked the entire time we've been here. So I was it kind of tickled me a little bit to think that for 2 nights, days, we've been here all day yesterday, door wide open, anybody could have walked in.
Yeah, here we always lock your door.
Yeah.
Up there,
you don't have to.
Especially car doors. Car doors is the biggest issue too. A lot of us, you leave a bag, it's gone.
Well, and the other thing about you and I find very similar is we and I are both very trusting people in general.
Sure.
And I don't ever lock my door. I never lock anything. I never lock my car. I have people come to my kids, my stepkids that come to our house, and I go out there and need to get something out of their car, and they've locked their door in my driveway, and I'm like, I would not lock my door. I don't ever lock my door to my cars or my house or anything else. That's probably a mistake, but that's just, I think I'm just very trusting. I just don't think it, probably some of that is that it won't happen to me kind of thing,
Well, see, it's happened to me, so now I have to lock the door. Like back to experiences and mentoring with insurance, you talk about what you did wrong and why that's important.
Yeah, I'm sure the first time I go home and somebody's ransacked my house, I'll probably start locking my doors. But we have all the cameras, the blink cameras and all that all over our place, so that's good. But I don't know, just different world down here. But I do love it. I'm a better person in the sun. Like, just being here makes me a better person. Not just being around you, but
no, but you being here, man, I appreciate it. It's been like, I got this. I don't need much more of a jolt of energy, but you bring it here. I feel like I step out of my A game, and this is your house, man. You're welcome here. Now I think we got to do next is we got to go visit you.
Oh yeah.
In Alabama, Johnny's coming with. We'll bring the camera. We'll do some.
I would love that.
Some road stuff.
I really would. I just when I retire from insurance, whenever that is, I'm definitely moving somewhere down here because I'm a warm weather guy. I remember my dad invited a bunch of his friends to come watch me play high school football one time because I was okay, you know, pretty good in football. And we played a school Friday night in Alabama, and it was late October, and it was like 19, 20 degrees that night. Hit a cold snap, and I just played awful. And I get home, and my dad's embarrassed because his friends have all come to watch me play. He's like, "Son, what in the world is wrong with you tonight?" I said, "I was too cold. I can't do cold weather. I just don't like it." But I'm a better person down here in the warm weather. I just love it. I love being out in the sun.
Well, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for doing this. I'm happy for you. I'm excited for your future, and I'm here to always help you, man, no matter what.
Well, I appreciate everything y'all do for us. Like I said, I mean, I try to visit agents' office quite frequently just to find out what all we're doing wrong and what we can do better. And you guys have been a huge part of that. This is our second trip down here. I've got a couple more I want to go to maybe towards the end of this year. But like I said yesterday, next week I've got to be the MC of a big insurance conference in Orlando. And after that, I'm going to take some time off from traveling. So, but I appreciate
Stay home, man. Kim didn't get mad.
yeah, no doubt.
Appreciate you.
All right, guys. Appreciate y'all having me. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott.